And we're back for another one, folks. We talking college, switching it up for y'all. College football preview, just doing the Power Five conference and anything else that we can think about with best bets, parlays, conferences, who's making the playoffs. Is it we are roll tide, all hell, go Bucks. We'll talk about it. Let's go. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Money Pot Betting Show. I am the host, the CEO, the president, all the above. They call me Moss Money. And we got our own, very own, part of the crew, part of the clan, part of the team, making us money each and every week. Our own professional gambler. They call him CSharp. What's up, Sharp?
What's going on, man? I'm ready for this is the last night before serious football starts.
Yeah, right. Week 0, right? Games tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
If I'm not, yeah. Games are tomorrow. Football is here. If you didn't know, a lot of preseason games finishing off this weekend, but college football is starting. So we'll probably have some best bets drop. You know what? Give it to them. Give them right in the beginning, Sharp. You got a best bet for me for tomorrow for college football? Let's go. Hit him with him.
So let's just start off with the first game. It's in Dublin. So it's early our time, but 1:30, not like you're getting up early, but it's prime time over in Dublin. That's Notre Dame versus Navy.
Okay.
I don't think Notre Dame is quite as good as their 13 ranking. I will say that, but I have heard really good things about their interior D line. That was kind of an issue last year. They were good on the edges. They weren't great inside. They've improved that. So I think this is just a no-brainer here. Right out of the gate, they've got Sam Hartman, who transferred in last year. Tyler Buckner was their quarterback. He struggled mightily. He now transferred to Alabama. You got to get used to this. Quarterbacks transfer left and right. Sam Hartman is a major, major upgrade at quarterback. I just think that you got to go ahead and pull the trigger on Notre Dame 6.5 first quarter.
Ooh. Let's look at it. What is that line? Minus 115, minus 110?
I'll pull it up right now. It should be it's minus 115. Yeah. So still kind of under that, it's not like it's not like in the buying a half point range. 115 is not bad.
Yeah, no, not bad at all. Not bad on the juice right there. First bet of the day, right out the gate before we get the show. I like it. Give me Notre Dame, quarter 1, minus 6.5, minus 115 against Navy across seas in Ireland. I like it. Let's go.
So, I know everyone loves Navy, but, man, that's going to be a home crowd for Notre Dame, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a home game for sure. So I like it. Good bet to start off the day. That's what I'm talking about. Give them what they want. And let's get into the preview. So today's show, what we're going to talk about is just the Power 5 conference: ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and PAC12. Giving our best bets for all those divisions. Conferences. Who we like, under, over, anything under the sun that we can think about in terms of giving you good betting numbers. So let's start out with the big dog, man. Let's go right into it. We already know who's in the SEC from Clemson. I'm sorry, not Clemson, from Bama, Georgia. Who's else in there? Florida, Kentucky. A lot of quarterbacks gone out of this division, right? The Bryce Youngs, the Bennett's. Who else is gone from LSU? No, Daniels is there at LSU.
He's back.
Is he back? Yeah, he's back. He's back. Hooker from Tennessee, right?
Those are the big three. The big three are kind of gone.
Yeah, they're gone. So I was looking at some of these numbers here and some of these in these conferences. Talk to me, man. I understand Georgia is the big dog in defending, but they lost a lot. They lost a lot. They lost a lot from that defense over the last 2 years too. If you think about it, top talent in the first round over and over again, year and year and out, and then they understand how to recycle this as they go. But I mean, isn't there some value on Bama here? I think Bama's like plus 300 to win this division, to win this conference, and I'm just like, you know, I understand that these teams more likely going to run a little bit more this year. And Bama's been like quiet. You haven't heard them a lot about Bama. But I mean, I think this defense and this offense should be humming right back where it is. It's always going to come back to Georgia and Bama. But man, I feel like there's a lot of value on Roll Tide here. Talk to me, man. What do you see in this division? And can Bama, I guess it would be kind of an upset and take over and win this conference.
Yeah, I obviously I think the trenches are there for them.
Right,
I always go, offense and defensive line. I think when you go look at the last 5 years of recruiting, and you still have COVID year, people got to keep that in mind when you look at college football around the country. You're going to have sixth-year players still in effect, meaning if a guy redshirted as a freshman and then also had the COVID year, both those years don't count. So you can technically still play 4 more years plus those 2. So you are going to have some 24-year-old, that's correct, 24-year-old kids playing in college, quarterbacks, offensive linemen, and that matters. Alabama's got a pretty veteran O-line and D-line. They are relying on some 5-star young kids, but like when I say they recruit the trenches as good as anyone, that includes Georgia. They're a conveyor belt in the trenches. So I think they're going to be more physical than they were last year. So I actually think their floor is pretty high still. I just don't think their ceiling is that high. When I look at teams in college, and kind of just now that the NFL has gone to full spread offenses, your floor as a team is based on how good you are in the trenches, your offense and defensive line. That's going to dictate if you're good in both those areas, you're not going to be a terrible team because they'll just get you to a mediocre win-loss record, just dominating against poor teams in those areas. However, your ceiling is based on quarterback play and the weapons that can complement that quarterback. And that's where Bama, when I look at Bama, even compared to a Georgia or a Michigan or an Ohio State, or heck, even a USC or an Oklahoma, who's not going to be able to match up with them in the trenches, the weapons they have and the quarterback play that they have is significantly better. And so if I'm Alabama, I'm just going to go with the kid that can run. I know he's not a really good passer, but man, I would just go to an old school Nick Saban, run, special teams, defense. That's their only way. If they try to get into shootouts, they're in trouble.
Who's going to be the quarterback? Who's the star? Who was his name?
I don't know. Like Tyler Buckner, they haven't named one. Tyler Buckner was Notre Dame's starting quarterback last year. He transferred in because Alabama brought in Tommy Rees, who was Notre Dame's offensive coordinator and play caller last year. They brought Tommy Rees in to call plays for them because their offensive coordinator left to the NFL to save Mac Jones. So it's a carousel. So it's a new system. And basically it's either Tyler Buckner, a guy that was average at Notre Dame in that system. Now he will have a better O-line behind him. So maybe he's better there and he's a year older. So maybe he's just better there. Or it's going to be the young kid that ran a lot last year. So that's there. I guess there's a third kid in the mix, the true freshman, but I highly doubt, unless it's Bryce Young walking back in that door, I highly doubt Nick Saban's turning the keys to a freshman again. So I don't know. I think it might go into the season with a couple quarterbacks. I really do.
So here's the next question then, because I saw a nice little gem here. Where was it? I think it was to make playoff parlays, and it was for Georgia and Bama to make the playoffs, and it was plus 300. And I was just thinking, like, is this a no-brainer? I guess here it is. Is this free money? Because I'm looking at these schedules. I'm looking at Bama's. I'm looking at Georgia's schedule. and I'm just trying to find, where's the loss? Is it at Mississippi State for Bama? Maybe I don't think at Texas A&M, and I'm looking at Georgia's, and I'm just seeing people just steamrolling. Steamrolling through this schedule where they possibly will and might go undefeated. I really like this bet, but going through the rest of the divisions, I mean the conferences that we go through, is it possible the one doesn't get in here? Is it possible, that this is just a kind of almost like a sucker bet? When people say, "Oh, it's Georgia, Bama," this must be, an easy money bet, but doesn't seem like this is a good bet. Looking at some of the other conferences, especially in the Big 12, with the Penn States and the Ohio States and Michigans. I'm sorry, Big 10. I apologize. The Big 10s. With those other teams in here, because I feel pretty confident that Michigan's going to go undefeated this year.
Man, yeah, Michigan's got a tough schedule, but we can get into that when we talk about the Big 10. I don't think they're going to go undefeated, but I think it's more. I think it's more likely than not. I will say this about Michigan, and I'm an Ohio State guy through and through. I think it's more likely than not that Michigan would go 12-0 in the regular season than they would go 10-2.
Right.
So
yeah. They got the one tough game. Well, actually, no.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say one tough game. I think this is the year that Penn State could jump up and get and they're going to be for real.
Yeah, no, they are. So it obviously goes back to Franklin, but yeah, no, Penn State is going to be for real.
So the Big Ten's a blender. It really comes down to those games, and they all play each other. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. Any thoughts on LSU being a surprise this year?
I think LSU is going to be a really good team, and I think Texas is going to be a really good team, and both of them are on Alabama's schedule. I think Mississippi State is going to be a decent football team. I'm not sure what to make of Ole Miss. Obviously, I trust Lane Kiffin, but they lost a lot. And I will tell you this: I do think Tennessee lost a lot. But man, Joe Milton, he's there. So think of Anthony Richardson before he played a game last year. That could be Joe Milton. I mean, you're talking about a 99th percentile athlete. And I'm not talking like for quarterbacks. I'm talking if he steps on a football field, he's like Cam Newton, 99th percentile athlete. Like you're talking about a 6'4" plus rocket arm. He's jumping 40 inches. Now he's going to make wow plays, and then he's going to make head scratching plays because he doesn't have any starts and he doesn't know what he's doing. When Hooker went down, he did come in and make some plays, though. You saw that. So maybe under the same system, he can continue to grow. So I think Tennessee's dangerous just because it's hard to stop a player that's the best athlete on the field in college. So when I look at Bama, I don't think Bama's a lock to make the playoffs, and I'll be honest, I don't love that bet.
Yeah, and I thought it was almost a sucker bet too when I saw it.
I think it is a sucker bet. Like I would think that needs to be more like 6-1 than 3-1.
Right, exactly. I thought it was a sucker bet.
To me, LSU, the two locks to make the playoffs as a parlay is Georgia and Michigan. That just seems like they're going to start high. Even if they lose once, the chances of them still backdooring the playoffs are so high. I don't know that Georgia loses. Michigan could lose once, like we talked about, and then still win the division, still win the conference, still win in the playoffs. Like, if you're going to do a parlay, it's probably Ohio State with Georgia or Michigan with Georgia.
Okay. Now, we talked a little bit about Bama. Let's go to, Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. Is McIntosh still there? Kenny McIntosh, or is he gone?
He's there.
He's still there.
Oh, wait. No, he's not.
No,
he got drafted.
He got drafted, right? Yeah. So it's Edwards.
And their Branson Robinson, Google him when you get a chance, guys. I'm talking like dude's got Hulk Hogan arms. He's injured for the year. That just broke. So they're down one of their top backs. Now, Georgia does have a lot of backs. I will say that. But they did lose their receiving back, Kenny McIntosh. He did get drafted. And then, Yeah, they're gonna have to rely on some young kids because they are down Branson Robinson.
And then they have Bowers, the tight end, probably best tight end in national football. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, in college football.
Yeah, him
Now
and
look
Marvin
at
Harrison Jr. are probably the two best weapons. Maybe Blake Corum. Those are probably the three best, just pure weapons in college football. I mean, Brock Bowers is he's like a George Kittle meets Travis Kelce almost. It's hard to explain. He can block. I'll just put it like this: he's like a Kittle in the receiving game or a Kelce in the receiving game, but like a Kittle in the blocking game. It's hard to describe a player being that good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And from a defense perspective, again, recycling defensive guys, they lost arguably, what we're seeing obviously in the Eagles uniform and Carter being one of the best players in college football last year. How does this Georgia team continue the success that they had? They went undefeated 15-0. They won the whole thing last year. You got to, Stetson Bennett, the 7-year senior, from last year. Like, how do they replace it? Like, how do these teams just do it? Is this just like the recruiting class and is just recycle, right? We're just recycling talent. And the next guy behind him is better than what the guy before him came.
So the difference in college versus how pro teams operate is the elite teams in college, and if you're in a pro team, you're lucky to draft one impact defensive tackle in a draft, right? Well, in college, those dudes are going after 2 and 3 5-stars at the exact same position. So if one misses, the likelihood of 3 missing is not going to happen. And they do that every single cycle. So when you stack 2 and 3 classes of 6 or 7 5-stars just at defensive tackle, there's going to be 3 that don't hit, and there's going to be 3 that hit about what you thought, and then there's going to be 3 that just blow up and are amazing. And that's how it goes for the elite of the elite. So literally, it's a conveyor belt. And do I think someone on their team will be Jalen Carter? No, but someone will be good. Someone will be just as good as, if not, someone will be a first-round pick or a second-round pick. And here's the thing with Georgia. They were supposed to play OU, but when OU and Texas joined, for some reason, unlike Texas and Alabama, who didn't cancel theirs head-to-head, Georgia and OU canceled their head-to-head. So they both went from having a really tough schedule this year, because that was supposed to be week 2, to having easy schedules. So I think Georgia as a team is going to be worse than they were last year, talent-wise. Like if you were just looking at a pure NFL evaluator, you would say this team's not as good. But that doesn't mean they won't go undefeated in the regular season just because their schedule is that easy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, their schedule's a joke. They could just really grow as a team, and that's kind of how these teams work. When you're bringing in young kids, those young kids look so different week 12 than they look like week 1, and so that's just how it goes.
And what is it going to be? Carson Beck is going to be the quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. I think Kirby will probably go with the veteran.
Okay.
Then they haven't announced either. That's the thing. Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama have not decided on QBs.
Yeah.
So I could see those 3 teams literally going into the season and being like, you guys got to play it out.
Yeah. What's Georgia? 10.5, I would think. And
I think Georgia's is 11.5.
Where is it at? Yeah, 11.5 at plus 115.
I mean, their schedule's just,
it's cake. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's cake.
It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, 4 home games, then on the road for Auburn, back home for Kentucky, on the road for Vandy, then home for Florida, Missouri, and Ole Miss, and then away for Tennessee and Georgia Tech. Like for them? What's at Tennessee late?
At Auburn, I mean, that's always a tough place to play. Stuff can happen there. But again, that's 5 weeks in where you can get a lot of stuff going. So, or 6 weeks in. So you got 5 weeks of reps and tape and good coaching. And so, man, Georgia's going to be a lot better in 5 weeks than they are today.
Yeah, for sure. Any best bets or any bets you got coming out of SEC before we move on to, we'll move on to the Big 10.
Just based on pure schedule, like we talked about, man, I think it's super chalky and I don't love it, but kind of like some of our NFL shows, I don't like taking any of these teams individually, but give me Michigan and Georgia to make the playoffs. That's just like, it shouldn't be a single unit bet like we talked about. The money, the book's holding your money for months. So Should be several unit bets, whatever you're comfortable with in that range. And that's my favorite bet involving any team in the SEC. I don't get into college props much. I'll be honest. It's these depth charts are crazy and guys elevate and transfer. So, I mean, unless you're like taking Marvin Harrison Jr. to win Heisman or something and getting value there, I wouldn't. There's just not many individual things I like in college ball.
Yeah. Oh, it's been a long time, man. He's got a couple minutes with us.
Let's get this party started!
We'll see. We'll bring him in here.
Hey.
They call him Diddy. What's up, boy?
What's going on?
It's been a minute. We back.
Man,
Yes, sir.
We've been back.
Sir.
You know what I mean? He's Sharp's been chopping at the bit to get at you on this college shit, boy. He's been chopping.
He don't want this. He don't want this.
You don't want that over there?
Well, you know, everything that starts high eventually has got to come down. So maybe this is the year.
Okay,
I
sounds
hear
good. I like that.
that.
You growing your hair out there, Sharp?
I am.
I see a little man bun in the back.
It's no man bun, but it's growing out.
I see it.
Show him. There you go.
I'll tell you what. That Super Bowl did a number on me spiritually. I think so. I'm like Aaron Rodgers. I'm a new man.
I hear you. Looking good.
We just did the SEC, Diddy. I know you don't got much time, but as always, appreciate you jumping on real quick here.
Absolutely.
Anything from you from a best bet from the SEC? We're going to move to the Big 10 here soon, but anything from SEC that we got? We talked. The one thing that we pulled up, and I'll give you a quick background. There's a bet on DraftKings here, and we felt like it's a sucker bet to a parlay that they have on here for Georgia and Georgia and Alabama to make the playoffs at plus 300.
I like Georgia. I like them both. I think they're two powerhouses. I think they both will do what they usually do, as they do year in, year out. I mean, there's a few teams that can possibly step in here and make an upset. I think LSU is pretty live this year. There's a couple others, but I think those two teams aren't going to take too much of a step back. They're well-oiled machines. So at least not this year. I don't see any step back from Georgia nor Alabama. So I would take that as great value at plus 300.
Yeah, that's what at first I saw. I was like, really? And my thought was like, this is just everybody knows kind of, Georgia and Bama kind of make the playoffs. So I felt like, we talked about how Bama might not be really, these teams from a talent level from last year obviously are taking a step back this year. But looking at their schedule, pretty, especially Georgia's is pretty kind of cake. And Bama has, some tough games here, at Mississippi State. Tennessee's not going to be, so much a cakewalk. Obviously, at the end, at Auburn, anything can happen there as well. So, thought this might have been more on the sucker bet just to get people who might not know as much, especially as you two guys do of college, football, might get caught up when the names and just, pull the trigger on this bet right away.
Not me. I love that value at 300. I didn't see that. So yeah, I would touch something on that for sure. Plus 300. If I can put money in plus money on Alabama or Georgia, I mean, you don't get that often.
Yeah, but would you take that over a Georgia and Michigan combo? Like if you only had to take one.
So everybody's on Michigan, but to make the playoff.
Yeah, make the playoff.
Made the playoffs, yeah.
I think Michigan's going to come out. I mean, don't forget, Harbaugh is gone for 3 weeks, right? The first 3 weeks of the season,
Yep.
he's suspended. Like, it's going to be some struggle. Not saying that Michigan's not
They
going to be
play high school teams.
I get it. I think they're going to run through those 3 weeks. I'm just saying that it's still 4 teams that make the playoffs. And if you look at over the previous years, Alabama's made it, right? Snuck in the back door. And Georgia's Georgia. I mean, what do you say? You think USC's going to? Nobody from the Pac-12 is going to make a splash?
No, but when I look at Alabama's roster,
yeah, right. No, sir.
A lot of people like Washington. I mean, Washington's dangerous. I don't know. I don't know about the Pac-12. I don't know if any team's guaranteed to make the playoff or not. But
yeah,
when I look at their schedules, I think Michigan's guaranteed. Even if they, I think they're guaranteed to go 11-1 pretty much. And I think so is Georgia. Like worst case scenario, 11-1 for Georgia. So when I just look at making the playoffs, I think it's easier because when I look at Alabama, I would say, what happens if they slip up to, I don't think they're beating both Texas and LSU. They're losing one of those games. That's how I look at it. I just don't think their quarterback play is going to be good enough.
I said LSU is going to be the game. I said I think LSU be the one team that possibly can sneak in here. Everybody's high on Texas,
and they're definitely not beating Georgia in the SEC championship.
I got to see from Texas first. I got to see what's happening with Texas before I put any future bets on money on Texas. But
say they'd beat Texas, but lose to LSU, and then lose their final game of the year to Georgia in the SEC title game. You're not making the playoffs.
Sharp.
That's the thing. Sharp, with Alabama, you've got that Georgia SEC championship hanging over your head.
But Sharp, if I'm plus 300, right, and we're already half of that bet, we already know it's going to be in there, right? Which is Georgia. I'll take plus 300 on Alabama to somehow get in here. That's what I'm saying. The value's there. Is it going to hit? We don't never know. Anything can happen this season. But I'm saying the value's there.
Well, we were going over.
So you're saying
we were just
Georgia,
talking best bet.
Michigan? Okay. So
I think Georgia Michigan combo to make the playoff is basically free money.
What's Georgia Michigan? What's the value?
It's not up there. There's a reason why. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah. So I mean, I would make that. I would make the plus 300. I would throw something on there.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Values. Just because of values.
Yeah, I agree with Sharp on this one. I thought it was a little bit of a sucker bet. And we'll see why. So let's move on to Big 10 Michigans. We are Penn State, Ohio State. Ohio State hasn't. I think the big thing coming out of this division right now is obviously you said already Harbaugh is out for the first 3 games. Ohio State hasn't named the quarterback. I mean, is this Penn State's year? Like, is this Franklin Singleton? Is it Singletary? I think I forget the running back's name off the top of my head.
It's Singleton.
Singleton.
Dual monsters.
But this whole team is pretty much coming back. A lot of this team is coming back from this year. So, I mean, is it really Penn State's year? Where is Penn State making the playoffs? Or am I going too far?
Well,
am I going too far with this one?
Michigan. So it's only one Big Ten that's going to make the playoffs.
I don't agree with that. I think it's a lock that 2 Big Ten teams make it.
Ooh, so Penn State's in there.
Well, I don't know. I think it'll either be Ohio State. Here's what I think. I think Penn State's going to beat Ohio State. Ohio State's going to beat Michigan. Michigan's going to beat Penn State.
And then we're going to have a problem.
So then it's literally going to come down to whoever has the higher playoff ranking going to who advances. So how I see it playing out is they're going to 3-way play, and then Michigan and Ohio State will be the 2 teams that somehow get chosen, and Penn State will be a 1-loss team that gets left out.
Is Ohio State going to be without Najima, CJ? I understand these teams like just recycle this talent, but we're talking about talent, that's leaving out of the doors at some of these places. Like, is Ohio State, like I see Ohio State is favored in this division everywhere, but I hear Penn State, I hear Michigan. So from a talent wise, I mean, I know Michigan almost returned this whole offense, right?
Michigan's the most talented team. Michigan's the most talented team in the division. Ohio State's more talented than Penn State.
But look at the lines. The line don't tell me Michigan's the best team.
Well,
barely,
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. You go talent for talent. I'm just telling you, Michigan's loaded. Mm. Ohio State might have more top end talent. Like their top 5 might be better than Michigan's top 5, but they're not. Their top 20 is not better than Michigan's top 20. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I mean, if we're looking at Penn State, I think Penn State has an opportunity this year. I think the quarterback comes in here. He got some experience. Really, really good. Looking good in the spring games. He's looking good in his offseason from what I'm hearing from Penn State. So I think, like you said, it's going to be top heavy. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. I think it could be a coin toss depending on what's going to happen at the quarterback position at Ohio State. Michigan, we know Michigan's going to be tough. Like I said, they have Harbaugh's going to be missing the first 3 weeks, so it might be some, some situations within the locker room that may, not get these guys ready or upbeat for a certain game or not. Something might be close, but it's very hard to tell. We got to see how these games are going to start playing now, especially early on, and see what these teams looking like. Because it is like you said, Nate, it is a lot of turnover in those key positions for a lot of these big teams. So I mean, the value at plus 500 to win a Big Ten is good value for a team that can possibly make some big noise in the Big Ten. At the same time, Michigan and Ohio State are also on that high plus 100. So you can't go wrong with those top three.
So let me ask you this then, since you can bet this, they won't give me the value that I want, but what I'm going to try to do, and I'll get back to you guys, I'm going to try to go to a book on Monday in person in Kansas and see what they'll do I'm going to go talk to their director and see if he'll take my money on some of these. But would you, right now, if you only had to take one, would you take Michigan and Ohio State to both make the playoffs at 4-1 or Alabama and Georgia to both make the playoffs at 3-1? If you had to take one.
Probably Bama, Georgia.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Because SEC rings loud.
My only thing about that is my only thing about that is how can I just don't know. Yeah, I get you. I just don't know. So you're saying, do you think Alabama's going through the regular season undefeated?
Well, you just said about LSU, right?
No, Alabama.
Yeah, I don't know because I think LSU is going to be a problem this year.
Because remember, if Alabama wins their side of the division, they're going to play Georgia in the conference title game. And do you think they're beating Georgia?
No.
So if their last memory right before, I'm just saying. So if their last memory right before the committee chooses their teams is Alabama losing to Georgia, you think Alabama's getting the benefit of the doubt over Penn State, Michigan, or Ohio State? I don't know. Sure. I really don't.
You miss these conversations.
Yeah, I know. I think we're thinking so far ahead, and this is a hard.
I know, but these are future bets. These are season-long plays.
When I look at future bets, and Nate tell you I'm really good at future bets. Nate will let you know. It's value I look at. I only look at the value.
Agreed.
If I see a team that has great talent and potential, I go with the value than the top-rated person. So for me, value at Penn State to possibly win the Big Ten at plus 500 is great value.
Yes.
Oh, I think that's good value.
Anytime I do future, I always look for the value. And I know it's a gamble, right? I know it's a gamble.
But part of that value is 5-1. They're playing.
But then we're adding.
They're playing Ohio. They're playing Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, right. I want to let me jump in here because I think you guys are on to something, but then we're getting caught, right in the crossfire of how you guys both look at the same thing, and I want to make sure that we get back. Because you're both talking about the same thing of how you're looking at value and how you're betting. But what I'm not hearing is what we're betting, right? That's what I want to get back to.
That's what I'm saying. This college football season, I don't think there's much to bet futures-wise. I think it's such a crapshoot that unless you're just going to be super chalky, like I was said, and you're just going to take Michigan to go over their win total and Georgia to go.
And that's a good drop because that's what I got. That's my first best bet. It's Michigan over going chalky. Minus 130. I'm okay with playing the little bit of chalk because in 30 minutes we've only gave out 2 bets, and I want to give out some bets, especially before Diddy's got to go. So my first best bet is over 10.5 of Michigan. Like we already talked about, this is a cakewalk. They're facing high school, high school teams in the beginning. I think they probably have a good chance of going undefeated, if not at worst, winning 11 games. Diddy, before you go, drop me some bets. For anything tomorrow for week 0 or anything from a future side of any of the divisions. And we'll see how long we can keep you on here before you got to go.
Yeah, man, I'm looking really strong at this Notre Dame Navy game in Ireland. Right?
He already dropped it.
Okay, what you say, Sharp?
Go ahead. No. I want you to drop it. Let me see if we get an agreement. Let's go.
So I was looking at the totals, man. I'm looking at the totals.
Okay. You're going totals. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going totals. So last year Notre Dame opened up against Nebraska in the same game. They didn't look good at all. I think that's a warning for them. I think Notre Dame comes out hot here. Navy plays a really strange way of football. Well, not strange. They play classic 19 early on football, running the football, the triple head option, stuff like that.
Yep.
I know Navy's kind of in that complete rebuild mode over these past 2 years. I can't see them hanging strong defensively against Notre Dame. But I do like the totals here. I probably would take Notre Dame first half. Look at Notre Dame's first half team total and go over that.
Close. So he didn't do team totals. He did first quarter,
Okay.
6.5.
I've got Notre Dame minus 6.5 first quarter.
First quarter.
I like that. I like that. This is why I like it, because you have all summer for Notre Dame to prepare for the triple option. That's the only reason. They have all summer to prepare for this triple option. And so I can see them blanking them in the first quarter. I do like that, Sharp. What's the total?
So 17.5 is the total for Notre Dame.
Yeah, give me over that. I don't see Notre Dame be able to stop that. I mean, Navy be able to stop Notre Dame scoring. And
that's 17.5 half Notre Dame, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I like that too.
And for me, I think Notre Dame has to make a statement. And Navy can't stop defensively what they're going to have on that field. So for me first half team total. That's my best bet coming into this opening week.
It's only minus 105 on DraftKings too. That's good value.
Because they think it's going to be tight. The idea they think Navy's going to run the clock down. The first half's going to be going by pretty quickly. They won't get over that 3-point. I think it will be close, but I do see them getting 21 or 20.
But I think Sam Hartman is such a major upgrade over Tyler Buchner that Notre Dame's going to be able to pass.
Exactly.
They won't be able to pass last year.
That's why I was going to say I think Navy's going to struggle against that Notre Dame's offense. And Notre Dame has a statement to make in Ireland this week.
Speaking good bet. Ireland, we see it the same way. We're just betting two different angles. I like it.
Shout out to the local teams. Bonner is in Ireland. I think they're playing in Ireland this week too. Local high school team. They're in Ireland playing. I think they're also going to that Notre Dame game too.
Oh, that's cool.
Anything else before you gotta get out of here, Diddy? And
I'm gonna jump off and jump back on if you're still on.
All right, bet.
See you, Diddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. So love the two first bets. That's what I want to get back to because I know how you boys go, man. You guys start going at it. It's just a conversation back and forth. So I wanted to get back to the betting. So our third best bet, two best bets for week 0, and I like him both. I completely agree with Notre Dame getting up at least a touchdown because say Navy scores in the first half and Notre Dame maybe even can go up. What's the first quarter total? 10 points. So I don't think they'll have enough time probably to get the ball back. So you're banking that it's going to be 7-0 or 10-0, in the first quarter Notre Dame. And Navy's not going to score maybe until kind of later on. So we'll keep the same first best bets. I really like both bets. Add my Michigan bet over 10.5. We got 3 best bets so far. Only been through 3 conferences, so let's keep it moving. Going back to the Big Ten, we talked about Ohio State. We talked about Michigan. We talked about Penn State. Those are the big 3 in the Big Ten. Anybody else in the Big Ten you see as any type of value from a betting perspective of, is Penn State the LSU kind of this division? Or, is Wisconsin, worse than what people think? Because I think I've seen some sharp bets on Wisconsin under on their win total as well. But like you said, you don't like a lot of the futures so far because it's just the way the college football is looking like. But just seeing if we can find anything in terms of a little bit of value here in the Big Ten.
I've got a few here in the Big Ten. Let's start off with one of my favorites. It's Illinois over 6.5 wins.
Okay.
I think they're going to be a little bit like of that middle of the pack, Big 10. I think they're going to be better than people think. They've got a dominant. I mean, like, I truly mean this. They're going to put 2 or 3 guys from their defensive line into this upcoming draft. I know they lost Sidney Brown and Jay Martin to the Washington and obviously the Eagles. They lost, obviously, Chase Brown, Sidney Brown's brother. But, man, they got a lot of talent. And when I look at their schedule, yeah, they obviously got Penn State. That's probably going to be a loss. But they'll beat Toledo. I think they can handle Kansas. That is going to be, to me, that Kansas game will be indicative of their win total. But I think they're better than Purdue this year. I think they're better.
Purdue, though? Purdue.
Yes, true. I know, but I just think Illinois is going to be really good in the trenches. And so, like we were talking about in college football, I think the trenches set your floor. I think your quarterback and playmaker set your ceiling. I just think their floor is too high to be set at 6-5. I just think this team at worst is 7-5. I think they could actually be 8-4. I think 8-4, to me, when I look at their team and why I like it as a bet, when I kind of run through all my numbers and how I see the season playing out, to me, 8-4 spits out a little more than 6-6 does. And to me, that's just good value.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. What's the number on them? What's the number at over 6?
6.5 minus 118. So it's slowly starting to climb. As the season comes near, you're going to have more sharps being like, oh, I like that. Because here's the thing. They end the season with Indiana, Iowa, and Northwestern. Northwestern's in the tank. I don't think Minnesota is going to be all that good this year. So I just think they're going to win a lot of competitive games and end up 7-5 and go over their win total, if not 8-4.
Yeah, a couple of the road games are tough. Like, I think even though Purdue's not that good, I forget, who was it, O'Connell? Or is it O'Down? I forget the quarterback's name.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. O'Connell's gone. He got drafted.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's gone. He's gone. That's what I was kind of saying. But at Purdue, I know a lot of people had problems at Purdue last year, but that offense was obviously through him. And then at Iowa's tough. Yeah,
it will be.
I'm trying to think here. I think I can see a lot of unders on this team, right? You know, that Big 10 football, right? Nebraska.
Yeah, and that's why I love the fact that in all those grinded out matchups, they're going to have the O-line, D-line advantage.
Yeah, I like it. Like you said, it's getting chalky, right? It's at minus 125, but I like the breakdown.
So I was just pulling it up to see if I could find better value. You can get a little bit better value. FanDuel's minus 118. Shout out to FanDuel on this one. Minus 118 over 6.5.
Over 6.5. Let me just double check something from an alternate. Like now, I mean, we're reaching here, but I'm looking at the schedule. Like you said, if they can win some of those, 60-40, 50-50 type games, I just wonder where they are.
To me, they should be. To me, when I look at it, they should be 7.5, and Minnesota should be 6. And Minnesota should be 6.5. I don't know why it's the other way around. To me, they're not. Whoever set those lines aren't looking deep enough at O-line, D-line, because Minnesota should not be one win higher than Illinois, and that's how I look at it. Like, you know how we look at conferences, if someone wins, someone's got to lose. Like, if you're taking a win away from someone, that's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah. Big facts. I am trying to see if I can find. Yeah, they don't have the win. Do they have win totals over here? No, they don't have win totals on FanDuel. So you guys might have to search around. I was looking for the 7.5 in Illinois. But I don't have it on.
Yeah, they don't have alt spreads. They don't have alt win totals. I was looking at.
Yeah, because I think the 7.5, that was like plus 135-ish, maybe even plus 150, as high as 150. I think that would be pretty decent value to hit that. Looking at the schedule, looking at this team, I think that makes a lot of sense. If you can find it, even plus like maybe some weird like plus 167, might be in there. So I like the bet, and I'm tailing the bet as well at over on FanDuel though, not on DraftKings. Got to get the best line. FanDuel has it at minus 118 over 6.5. But since we're just looking at DraftKings right now, I'll just add it on there as another best bet out of the Big 10. I'm sorry, Big 10. All right, let's keep it moving. We got the Big 12 coming up. Who's in the Big 12? Baylor, the Iowa States, TCU, I think, Texas, Kansas,
OU.
Oklahoma,
You did. This is the year that it did merge a little. You have Cincinnati and BYU in there now. Houston.
Yeah. Okay. And then also, I think isn't these conferences changing again next year or something like that?
Yeah. This is the last year for Texas and OU.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then Colorado's coming in with someone else.
Oh yeah, that's right. Colorado is coming in the Big 12. That is right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Colorado and Arizona basketball power. I think it's Arizona.
Arizona. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. So looking at this, obviously TCU Horned Frogs made some noise last year. Is Duggan back? Is Max Duggan back, or did he?
No, he's gone. He got drafted.
He got drafted, right? I know Miller got drafted, and obviously Quentin Johnson. So, a lot of talent leaving this team. You know, you talked about Texas. B Diddy was kind of like, I got to see Texas to believe Texas. Is it Texas division, conference to win, or is there somebody else in this conference that can maybe make some noise? The Kansases, even Oklahoma State was okay last year, I think, for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. With Spencer Sanders
and then they were okay for a while, and then they fell off. So actually, one of my favorite bets of the year, and it's so good value, and they lost so many close games last year. They're returning quarterbacks back. They've had Brett Venables it was his first year as a head coach. He's a really good coach. He just needed to get some things going. Oklahoma only at 9.5 wins is criminally low, and it's plus 102 on the over. Like I talked about with Georgia, remember, they were supposed to play Georgia week 2. They're not playing Georgia anymore. They replaced that with a cupcake. So that gives you a month, 5 weeks to get ready. Their schedule's so easy until Texas that they can get things rolling. And with Brett Venables, they took Indiana's best defensive player in the transfer portal, a kid named Dasan McCullough. Get to know him. He's going to get drafted high eventually. They lost, I think, 5 or 6 games on the last possession last year with some bad turnovers. Gabriel got concussed a couple times. I just think this is the year that OU wins some of those close games, and I just see them going toe-to-toe with Texas. So just give me over 9.5 wins all day long for OU.
Let's find it. You said it was plus 102 or
plus 102 on FanDuel. Shout out to FanDuel. They're giving out the fire odds right now.
I don't even see them on this one. Oregon, Temple, Oklahoma, right? Yeah, plus 9.5. It's $2 more. It's $2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's good value. Like, this is one of the values where I'm like, man, I'm not paying. I'm getting plus odds. This is great.
So, do you think that's a pretty decent jump, right? I'm looking at their record last year. They went 6-7. I know you said they lost some 50-50 games last year, but they're four wins better than they were last year.
I think this is the one team that takes that massive jump. Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, I have no take on it. Didn't watch a lot of Oklahoma last year, so and I know Marvin Mims. I think he's
they lost Mims. They lost a tackle to the draft.
Yeah.
Most of their defense is back. Their defense should be improved. Their defense was a sieve last year. Their running back core should be good. Their wide receiving core should be good. Dylan Gabriel's back. I don't know that it's a national title contender, but if we're giving out best bets here, man, they're a 10-2 team at worst. Show me 3 losses. I just don't see it. TCU lost too much. They lost way too much.
Yeah. I agree there. TCU definitely lost too much, and that's at the end too. Looking at their schedule, right?
Yeah.
At
Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's they're in shambles. They lost. Their program's in shambles.
Yeah. I mean, the tough games, away games, are Cincy and Kansas, and I'm not even sure what Cincy is. Um,
Yeah,
but I know,
well, since you just lost Luke Fickle though, so they kind of lost the guy that was running their program.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, like you said, at home for Texas, but at least he's at home. Should be still tough. Should be still tough. Yeah, yeah. I like the bet. This one I'm not going to tail, but I do like the bet. Moving forward. Yeah, I don't have anything on this division. I was trying to look at TCU under just because they lost so much, but go ahead.
I think that's a good bet.
Yeah, that was the bet that I was looking at just because they just like they had a special season last year. I think we even made a. I think we rode the dog train on them a couple games, and I think we
Oh
got
yeah.
paid off. But yeah, they just lost way too much. And I was looking at the under. I'm trying to find it again.
Well, and that's what it shows though. That's the problem. There's no good value on them. They're 7.5. Like
yeah, exactly. So it's already built in. So yeah, that's the only
and
one.
when
that
I
was
look at it, I'll be honest with you. I like Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is that sneak. Like if you were going to tell me who's the TCU of the Big 12 this year, I think that's OU. I think it's OU. But if you're telling me who's that next team in the Big 12 that can take a big jump, I think Texas Tech could be an 8-4, 9-3 type team and be that like Iowa State sneaky good.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch this one TCU this team a little bit. I wonder what's that first game against Colorado. Dion's kind of opening. I wonder what that
17
line is.
maybe.
Is that Colorado was that bad, huh?
I mean, they won one. Yeah, they're bad.
20.5.
Yeah, see, opened at 17. It's been bet up.
Wow. Are they going to beat them by 20 points?
I don't know. That's one of those games I'm not going to touch, but I'll be watching just to see because that'll be fun to see where those two teams look, and that'll say a lot, in my opinion, about where they're headed that season.
Yeah, facts. All right, we're rolling through here. So we got I think we only got two divisions here. Let us go with we'll save the ACC. Let's go to the Heisman front runner in Khalid Williams, Pac-12, USC. Obviously, Dion. We just talking about him in Colorado. Washington State. Washington Huskies, Oregon, UCLA, all the above. Any good bets out of here? I do like Utah. Just because the quarterback is coming back for his probably 15th season, as well. A lot of I like Washington too because Pence is back. Not Pence. What's his name?
No, he's back for Michael Penix is back for Washington.
Penix, that's right. It was Penix, not Pence.
Yeah.
No, he's back. Yeah. I like Washington. I'm looking at the quarterbacks returning these seniors and these juniors and these veterans back to the team. Did Bo Nix get?
He's back with Oregon. It's the year. It's Cam Rising, 6th-year senior, back at Washington State. Bo Nix, 6th-year senior, back at Oregon, and then you got 6th-year senior Michael Penix at Washington.
Yeah.
And then obviously Caleb Williams. So yeah, it's the conference of QBs this year.
Oh, the what's the is it? I'm assuming just because how good and how special Khalid Williams is, they're favorite to win this division. I didn't even look at it yet, but they lost a little bit, right? With Jordan what's his name? Jordan and Minnesota.
Jordan Addison, the receiver.
Yeah. Yep, Jordan Addison's gone there. Talk to me about this division. I'm looking at names. I'm looking at teams. I do know who these players are, but it seems like a really tough division, a tough conference to even call. Obviously, Utah came out of it last year. Hell of a game. But is this the the Khalid Williams revenge tour on this year?
I do think yes. So, I mean, what I don't understand about their value in their bet is when you go to Pac-12 win totals, there is the exact same as they're right at 9.5. The exact same as Washington. Now the difference is that the odds for USC are crazy. So I love the value of over 9.5, but not at minus 170.
Yeah.
So
No value.
exactly. Like I think they're a lock to win 10 games, but I don't think that's good enough value to bet. Whereas when you go look at Washington, which I think is a team that's pretty much just as good with maybe not a quarterback that's as good, obviously, or as talented, but pretty close for the college game, you're getting plus 116 on 9.5.
Yeah.
So I just think there's no way that this team loses 3 games. They might lose 2. They're not losing 3. So give me over 9.5 plus 116 for Washington.
So what are the losses? I'm assuming at USC. They have Boise State.
Yeah, that'll be a tough game. I mean, I think that Oregon will be a coin flip game and USC will be a coin flip game. And then obviously maybe there's another game in there on the road that ends up being tougher than you think because that's just how college football is.
Yeah. I'm looking right now because playing in Washington, I know playing in Washington is tough. That's not an easy task. Anybody coming to Washington?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think.
But I mean, it's Boise, it's Tulsa, it's Michigan State, who's probably decent. But I mean, I don't know. They should probably be able to handle that game with Penix. It's California, terrible. Arizona. I mean, their schedules: Stanford, Arizona State. I mean, it's really Oregon and USC, and then Utah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, those are the 3 right there.
But they catch Oregon and Utah at home.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a good value. I just see
it is because I think what you're and if you look at how it's set up, right? If they get past Oregon, they have a potential and obviously early scare at Michigan State. But going in November 4th at USC, they could be undefeated.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I just love the value. Like this has got to be one of the better bets going out here, to be honest with you. I mean, they catch Oregon at home, they catch Utah at home, and they catch the Apple Cup late in the year at home. I mean, yeah, USC on the road's tough, but you're catching 3 or 4 toughest games at home, and you're getting plus value on over 9.5. This has got to be another one of those folks you're laying a pretty good amount, in my opinion. This is one of the better bets that I've got all year.
Yeah, no, I like it. I do like it. That's what I'm looking at because I'm looking at the storylines. You know how college football loves the storylines, right? Especially with some of
you're good at that too. You're good at betting through that kind of game theory stuff.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it. They get undefeated at USC, right? And if they beat USC, just saying if close game, win or lose, and then home for Utah, like they could possibly go undefeated. That back-to-back game is tough at USC and then home from Utah. If they could split that and still be be 12, what's that, 12-1? They have 13 games, right? Yeah, 12-1. They got a good shot or a good, kind of. Now obviously they got to win the PAC12, in the PAC12 championship game, but it puts them in the conversation and to actually be in the playoff conversation. So, good. Yeah, definitely good shot here. Definitely good shot here as well. So, yeah, I like coming out of this conference. I definitely like I like this bet for sure. I don't have anything else on there, so let's finish off with ACC, Clemson, Florida States of the world, Louisville, Miami, Duke, all those teams y'all love and know. So I don't know much about this division outside of Clemson and outside of Debo Samuels is going to have his boys ready to go and ready to play. It's just what it is in this division. But I do want to shift gears because I know Florida State is actually on their way of coming back to what we know Florida State to be, coming back. Tough game open up at LSU, and we'll know who they are, at home in the swamp against LSU. But talk to me about this FSU team, man. Is the hype for real? Are they on their? Is Florida State on their way back to the glory days of so many years ago? Obviously after everything they've been through over at Florida State, or is this kind of a talented team, but just not there yet?
I worry about the offensive line. I do think they're going to take a big jump. I do think they're in that Oklahoma mix where they went from average last year to way on the map this year.
Wait, what were they last year? 10-3, right? They were pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, they just flew under the radar. Like they were never national title. Like for Florida State, they were better than.
Yeah, right.
The difference between them and OU is they just won a couple more close games. But like I just mean they weren't on the national stage of being highly ranked and getting into the playoffs. Like that wasn't in the picture for them.
Yep.
I think they could be a dark horse to make the playoffs this year. I think the best pass rusher in college football plays for Florida State and Jared Verse. And sometimes in college, there's just not a lot of tackles like there is in the NFL. You're not talking about the best tackles on the planet. You're talking about maybe having one serviceable one. So in college, man, you can have a defensive end totally wreck games over and over. So their schedule's brutal. I do think 9.5 is probably where it should be. And I do like the over, but also I think the over is like -140 or -150. So I just don't see value in betting them, but I think they're a great team to watch. That LSU Florida State's must see.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that it's on Sunday so that it'll kind of be standalone.
And
it's Sunday prime time.
And I think what you're talking about, your line here is really good in terms of Florida State, right? Like look at Clemson and Florida State, pretty much neck and neck. And the next closest is Louisville, and they're 10-1, right? So,
and see, when I look at that, I trust Clemson's quarterback a little better than Florida State's. I think Cade Klubnik's a little better, and so which is based into the juice. I think Clemson's like -180 or -190, isn't it?
To win what?
Their win total.
Oh, the win total. Let me check Clemson.
I mean, on FanDuel, it's like -190 to go over 9.5. So,
yeah, it's probably close. They're pretty neck and neck. Unless
I do think Clemson should be favored over Florida State, but literally by like half a point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think the line reflects that too. What we're seeing. Where is Clemson? Oh, yeah, Clemson. I haven't seen it unless I passed it. I don't think I passed it.
They might not have offered one. That's why I had some things. FanDuel's been easier to use on the win totals.
Yeah, they might not offer it.
Shout out to FanDuel. I'm going to be honest. The win totals, it's just so much user friendly to use FanDuel, and their odds seem to be better. So if you're looking at using win totals, go, especially college, use FanDuel.
Clemson is 10 on the nose.
Yeah, so exactly. So there. So what is it at 10? So DK just moved there. So what is it at 10? What's the juice?
-105.
Okay. So there you go. So on FanDuel, it's 9.5, but -188. So it too is about to head to 10. So basically what this means is Vegas puts them both out even money at -9.5, and then they let the bettors decide. And the bettors money is starting to slowly come down on Clemson more than it is Florida State, which I think personally, I wouldn't put my money on it because it's too close. Mm-hmm. But I do think Clemson's the wiser money solely on quarterback play.
Yeah, I agree. All
right. I do have a best bet. I want to give out a best bet.
Yeah,
I've got a best bet in this conference. It kind of goes along with like where I see value and kind of, I don't love always going super chalky. I like looking at where I see value in the middle of a conference, and I think NC State is being slept on. There's no way they should be at 6.5. Again, just like Illinois, that team is going to win 7 games or even 8 games more than it's going to win 5 or 6. So I love NC State, the Wolfpack. They return a ton of players. They're veteran in the O-line, veteran in the D-line. They've got their system caller, play caller back. In college, that means a lot. Yeah, I just think it's a team that finishes 7-5 or 8-4 more than it finishes 6-6. So I love the value there, and give me NC State. If I'm going to bet any teams win total or just season long prop, it's NC State.
Yeah, I'm looking for them on DraftKings right now. They might not have them.
FanDuel right now, you can get them at
there it is.
Over 6.5 minus 150. What is it?
145.
So DraftKings is a little better value, minus 145. So if you're going to make that bet, go on DraftKings.
Yeah. I don't know much about NC State, so and just everybody who's watching, before we kind of close up shop here, is these are all our best bets, and when we look in the value and things that we find in the line. You don't have to take every bet. Don't have to. You take the ones that you like, or you don't take any bets. Or if you just like watching us talk shit and do what we do, that's okay too. But make sure, you do what's manageable in your bankroll. We stress it all the time. Make sure you do what's manageable in your bankroll, and take the bets that hopefully that you'll win money on us on the long run. But don't do anything like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you can't afford the 7 bets, especially on some of these future bets that have lower odds where you need to put a couple units in it, just don't bet them. Or see if you can figure out how you can do some parlays with some of these win totals. These won't allow us to do win totals parlays, or at least I haven't played with them enough. But if you can take a couple here and do like 2 of them that you really like, do it like that. Get the odds a little bit better in your favor. So, because like we talk about NFL, you're waiting the full year for these bets to come over. So, I mean, if you're betting $100, you're waiting $100 through the college football week. So it's better, if you have the bankroll for something like this, to stake them all and do 75, right, or something like that. Because at that point, there's 150, there's 300, there's 450, and then 500. You have a total of $500 to get you a potential payout of probably, just looking at it, just adding it up real quick in my head, of closer to $700. That might be a little bit worth it if you want to spread it out, but make sure you guys understand your bankroll and take care of your bankroll management, because obviously. Sharp a little bit different with his, professional bettor, because he does this on a regular. This is his income. But obviously, disclaimer, this is still due to entertainment purposes. So,
yeah. And for pro bettors, this is the time we bet the most, because this is the only time that week 0 and week 1 merges with week 1 of NFL, where like lines are all out simultaneously and season props are out. As soon as seasons start, win totals go away, line shifts as injuries happen for conference winners, division winners, and a lot of odds change. So like this is the time. So I know I'm giving out a lot of bets, but this is just how it goes. As we go week to week, it'll get condensed. And that's why I did want to sprinkle in a couple, week 0 bets. So if you're not interested in betting long-term months and you just wanted to, hey, I'm looking for a bet this week, we gave out Notre Dame. We gave out Notre Dame's first half and first quarter. Last year, if you look at our percentages, anytime me and Diddy were thinking the same way, which wasn't a ton, but when we were, it pretty much always hit. And Moss also likes it too here. So if you had to get through all the season long stuff and you're just looking for a right now best bet, man, hammer that Notre Dame early. First half, first quarter, look to bet Notre Dame.
And make sure you, if you're looking for more bets like this, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All that stuff helps the show grow. And you guys are a part of that growth as we do it here. I'm going to clear all these bets. Do we want? I know you talked about. We talked about playoffs. Not getting too much in the future bets, but you already said that you feel like there's going to be 2 teams coming out of the Big Ten to make the playoffs. going on that notion, obviously one is more likely going to be Michigan, right?
Yep.
Are we putting, just to play with it to make the college playoff? Are we putting Penn State in there?
I think
Or
it certainly would give you good value.
yeah, we can't put Michigan. So you can't even parlay these here. So
The best bet that you could do was on DraftKings, and it was college football parlays, and it was the only one. They weren't even offering Penn State. They were offering Michigan and Ohio State at 4-1 to both make it.
yeah.
I don't think they want to give out. Here's the thing with Penn State. If they give out Penn State, neither one of those teams, they're going to have to give it at like 7-1. And then we all know that's going to be too good. Everyone's going to hop on that because that's great value because Penn State's just as good as the other two. And so then see what I'm saying? Books are smart. They know not to put Penn State in there because they're going to have to give odds that are too good value.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe the average bettor might miss it, but sharps won't miss it.
Since we can't give out playoffs right now, and we'll do that as time goes on. Any idea, any good value on anybody here on this list to win the college football championship before we get out of here? We'll end it on that.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't think this year will be a long shot. Like we said, I don't think USC's got it in the trenches to win it all. And I think it's going to come from one of your big four. And I don't even know if Alabama's really a big four this year because I don't know that they're going to stick to just running. Jaden Milroe has to just run like 30 times and not pass and kind of just be that Derrick Henry style, that team that won. That's hard to do in modern college football. It takes a good quarterback usually. I just think it's Michigan's year. I hate to say that as an Ohio State fan, but if Michigan doesn't win this year, it's all set up for them to win. And if they can't win, it's probably Ohio State's year, in my opinion, or Penn State's. I just don't think it's Georgia's year. I think they replaced too much. I just think they're a year away. Although their schedule's easy, I think when they get to the playoff, they might have a little bit of trouble. That's just how I view it. If you're looking for one more good long value bet, I'm looking down here. Give me Marvin Harrison Jr. 30-1 to win the Heisman. I know it doesn't happen often. It was COVID year when Devontae Smith won it. I know Caleb Williams is the favorite, Drake May. Everyone talks quarterbacks, and that's rightfully so. It's pretty much a quarterback award. But if there's one person that's going to win this award, it's either Marvin Harrison Jr. or a guy like Blake Corum. So give me Marvin Harrison Jr. at 30-1 or Blake Corum at 50-1.
Yeah, those odds are great because they're 20-1 here and then 28-1.
And people forget how Blake Corum was top 3 in odds before he got hurt. He was going to go to New York.
Yeah. I agree. I like it. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody for joining here. We got a lot of good bets out here. We got a lot of good talk, a lot of good crossfire as the boys go at it. So it's been a while.
I do got one more best bet. Yeah. One more. I did send it to you kind of on Messenger. I don't know if you're going to put it in short, but while we're out here on the podcast form on YouTube Live, give me Vanderbilt first half -9.5. I do think they're going to beat Hawaii. I don't think it'll be as ugly as it was last year, but I do think they beat the brakes off Hawaii last year, flying all the way to Hawaii. This year, Hawaii has to come all the way to them. Tough place to play. Vanderbilt's getting better and better by the season. Man, give me Vanderbilt first half -9.5 before they call the dogs off.
Nice. I like it. I like ending on bets. I like ending on winning money. That's what we do here. So that is the college preview for the Power 5. We'll have more college bets, more college plays as we go through the year. So make sure you guys stay locked in, tune in. Again, hit the subscribe, hit the notification if you like what you hear. If you don't, appreciate the view. Appreciate you just stopping by. Tell a friend to tell a friend. My name is Moss Money. I'm Money Pop Betting. That's CSharp. Diddy was around. We'll see you guys next Friday, next week for more NFL bets. We'll see you.
We made it. Football's here. See ya.